platform. I've been using this investing platform for almost a year now, and this is like my go-to tool. So in today's video, I'm going to go do a walkthrough of the Simply Wall Street investing app as well as the website platform. I'll go through the pros and cons of using it. I'll go through who it's for, who it's not for, and my closing thoughts of using this investing platform for almost a year. I wanted to send a shout out to my subscriber community. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if you're new to this channel, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, the bell notification button, so you get the latest and greatest videos coming to you. So let's get back with the video. I'm going to do a deep dive on Simply Wall Street, which is my go-to investing platform. Over 1 million investors using Simply Wall Street. If you are not into reading financials, come on, be frank with me. Like, who is out there loving reading balance sheets? Because I am one of those people that hates it, but it's a necessary evil. I often go to Simply Wall Street to just go through a quick run of the fundamentals of a company. And that's what's the power of Simply Wall Street. Also gives you a lot of different cool things, which I'm going to share with you in the next few minutes. And another great thing about it is that it is a reliable financial data provider. It covers the entire world. Now I'm just going to go through how easy it is to log in. They give you several options to log in. It automatically integrates with Facebook, and I don't even really need to do anything because if you ask me what my Facebook password is, I actually don't know. Another great thing about Simply Wall Street is the discovery panel, which gives you a lot of investing ideas. Show you that you can buy also high growth stocks. It can show you potentially undervalued stocks. Like for me, this has actually been some of the ways I've been able to discover different types of stocks to invest in if I was looking for dividend stocks, or I wanted to just know stocks that have amazing, strong financial fundamentals. Here you could decide to, make your own portfolio. So I'm going to show you my portfolio. I think that for me, it's a cool way to say, okay, well, how have my stocks performed? So I'll go total return, and they'll just tell me, okay, in the last 7 days, it's gone down a little bit, say for Apple. But look at the total performance of my Apple stocks have been 114%. So Microsoft is saying total performance has been 98%. So anyway, et cetera, et cetera. Just gives me a good glance of the performance of my different stocks. Really like is just seeing what the diversification of my portfolio looks like. So you can see that like I'm heavily invested in tech stocks. I've got Amazon as one of my bigger holdings. My biggest holding is actually Apple. Then Facebook is definitely growing. In terms of allocation, it's just that Amazon has grown a lot more, so it's actually taken up a bigger allocation than Facebook, even though I want Facebook to be my second biggest allocation. So I'll be buying that over time. But it could tell you, like in terms of a pie chart, what's your total market value? What is its percentage allocation? So okay, and then here it shares, this is the like one of my favorite things about this portfolio analysis. It shows that how I'm diversified across the industry. So just visually, you can see that I have a lot of bank stocks. So the thicker bands here just shows that okay, I have a stronger allocation into kind of bank stocks. The other one is tech. It shows that it gives you 16% allocation Apple. It's kind of cool because you could see it could just give a good in what type of industries I'm invested. Then it also just shows like what's my expected or average growth rate across my portfolio. And it says I have 21.9%. I think this is really cool is that like in a quick glance, it tells you how much these stocks are going to pay me an annual dividend every single year. So it's saying that I have about $10,000 per year in dividends. Now, of course, they all come in different spurts. They're all across different accounts. But it's cool that I didn't have to actually add them all up. Given that I've been doing a lot of videos on Facebook, naturally it would make sense if I go into Facebook. So let's dive into Facebook right now. So if you were, for example, say, just wondering, is Facebook a buy? You could literally look at this executive summary and it'll give you within 5 seconds a quick analysis of whether or not you want to dive deeper into the stocks. What other things I really like about it is this is standard. It gives you, latest share price. But what I really like about this is the different types of events that have happened during, say if you really want to analyze this graph, you can see, okay, was there any relationship between the dip in the market and then say some type of announcement in the news. So you could do a bit of analysis if there's a relationship between the news events and the stock price. But I actually don't use this very much, but I thought that was a very, very cool feature. One thing I love about this platform is that it tells you what is its performance, the stock price performance have been in the past. You say you didn't know anything about Facebook and you're just curious, did it do well? I mean, say you didn't even know how to analyze a graph. You could just quickly look into this and say it's telling you over the past 5 years, it's made 145%, while the industry, say, I guess it's comparing to the tech industry, has performed 112%. So this stock has actually outperformed the tech industry and outperformed the market by a huge bunch. And if it was a dividend paying stock, which Facebook isn't, but if it was, even gives you an analysis of the dividend returns. Another beautiful feature. This is something that I absolutely love. The way they model their valuations, they can within like without you crunching any math, it'll tell you is it fair value or not. Now, it doesn't tell you, of course, what stock price to buy it at, but it does give you an idea. Is the stock price right now a little bit undervalued or is it completely outrageous? Now, of course, this is obviously like based on a certain modeling. So if you're not into the type of modeling that they do, then you wouldn't agree with it. But if you say we're interested in the way they actually modeled this, then you can actually view the data. And they use a discounted cash flow right? It's a two-stage process. You can read all about this if you're into that thing, and I am actually because I like to know how models are developed, and so then I could figure out my own kind of evaluations of what the stock price could be in 5 to 10 years. Another thing I love about this is that it actually tells you the forecasted annual earnings growth rate. So you could look at, what the revenue track is looking like up until it tells you when it was last updated, like July 24th, 2020, which is like super recent. And it tells you its revenue growth rate till 2024. Same with the earnings, so which is really cool. And it's based on all these different types of analysts. So it tells you how many analysts have actually predicted its revenue and its earnings growth rate. The only thing I don't like about it is that I actually don't know the breakdown of that revenue growth. So for me personally, I want to focus on areas where there's untapped opportunity. And maybe I know like these analysts are obviously super smart, but sometimes they do miss out on a bunch of things and they're underestimating or overestimating the growth in say one particular area. So for Facebook, it's not saying that hey, 98% of this revenue is on the advertising. It doesn't say that what its potential revenue is, say, for Facebook Shop. So, I wish I had a bit more information. And if I go into view data, it doesn't give that to me. Like, it doesn't tell me what its breakdown of its revenue growth rate, like how it determined its number based on the different types of stock. Revenue sources that Facebook has. So that's a downside of this. So when I look at this, this is just a preliminary screening, but I still have to go back and read the presentations in the investor relations. I have to look at the press releases. I still have to like listen to Mark Zuckerberg, during its annual event. So all I'm just getting at, it's a quick and easy, dirty way just to see, hey, is expected to do well. But if you want more in-depth analysis, this is not going to do it for you. Other thing I really like about it is that it actually tells you what its historical annuals growth rate. And what I love about this, if you look, I highlighted right here, it says that Facebook has a 39.2% profit margin, which I thought was amazing. So, typically you have to look at these financials and it's so boring. So for me, I love it the fact that it just gave the percentage to me without me actually looking at the financials and getting squirrely eyed. So if you're just quickly going through, screening through stocks, you could in like a few seconds just figure out, okay, what its profit margin, what its revenue growth rate is without looking at some boring accounting spreadsheets and balance sheets. Now, sorry, I mean, if you're into that, that's cool, but I'm super not into that. I just do it out of it's a necessary evil, but I love the visualizations way better. And look, you could look at free cash flow, you could add cash flow from operations. So all I'm looking for is everything trending up. Going to this financial health, this just shows you like what's this balance sheet look like. So you can see, like if you try to turn on the debt, it has no debt. So within 2 seconds, you can figure out, holy smokes, Facebook is in amazing financial position. In fact, it tells you Facebook is debt free. And so that I love this part. That was super, simple to look at. You can play around with it, and it just tells you how much cash it has. So you can see like Facebook has, in March 2020 has $60 billion in cash and $105 billion in equity. Another thing, say if you Facebook was a dividend paying stock and you were a dividend income investor, unfortunately, Facebook isn't, but if it did, it would show you the different yields. And actually, I'll show you Microsoft because that's a dividend paying stock. So I'll hold off on showing the dividend section, but let's just show management and ownership. Now, this is not as useful information for me. I guess if you were trying to figure out like is the CEO like strong? Does it have I guess, does it control part of the company? Then that would be a worthwhile, look at this section. But otherwise, it doesn't say, hey, this like CEO is great and it's changing, it's a visionary. Like it doesn't share any of that. It's just all facts. So it just tells you how much is getting paid, what's the ownership of the company, and tells you what's the insider trading volume. One thing I can get out of this is that if I see a lot of people saying, like selling their stocks over and over again over the past 3 months, 6 months, that tells me kind of a bit insight of the company. Like, why would there be a lot of sell-offs in the company? Maybe because people think the company is overvalued. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. As promised, we're going to go into Microsoft because that is a dividend, not only is a high growth stock, but it's also a dividend paying stock. So I want to share the different types of visualizations you can get from it. So if you're a dividend income investor, how have its dividends performed and how reliable is it and what is its payout ratio? So here you can see that, here it's just showing, okay, say I didn't even know what the dividend yield is. And I just want to see, has the dividends been growing every single year? You could just look at the graph and quickly realize, wow, the dividend's been growing every single year, and it's telling you that they've been stable for the past 10 years. So then the next thing you want to look at is, well, what's the current payout ratio to shareholders? Like how much of its cash is it paying out to dividend investors? And of course, for dividend income investors, you want to look for something that's under 80%. And you can see Microsoft pays out 35%, which is like chump change for them. Okay, the one last thing I want to share with you, and this is in this beta format. This stock evaluator is basically a quick, easy peasy way of knowing what the stock's value is. So you can model what your assumptions are and then figure out how much, you can figure out, is the stock overvalued or undervalued? So for me, I'm going to go back into Microsoft, plop in the number, what your expected profit growth rate, and then it spits out, okay, what its expected share price is right now. So for me, it's saying that because I want, a larger discount rate of 10%, and usually it goes ahead with its cash flows and figures what its value at right now. Then it tells you that I'm actually valuing Microsoft $173, while the analysts are expecting between $180 to $260, and its current share price is 201. Now, the downside of this is that obviously I'm a long-term investor. I really don't care what it's going to be like in a year, but I thought this is kind of cool for someone who's just figuring out, is this completely overvalued, and you're into determining what its fair value is. You're deciding on a stock with clarity, confidence, and conviction. That's really what makes you as a great investor. So I think having this type of tool is super helpful. Now, like I said, the downside, it's only 1 year. It's not saying you could do 5 years. You can't go 5 years out and predict its stock price, which I think I would like that better. So the pros is that this Simply Wall Street, I'm actually not getting paid to do this. I have no affiliation. I just love it. And I actually pay for the plan. I think overall, you pay $10 US a month. It's not very expensive and it has amazing functionality. I love the fact that it has the discovery page, which you could discover different types of stocks to invest in, like undervalued stocks, growth stocks, dividend stocks. And then you can actually even compare different types of companies. So you could have compared Apple to Microsoft to Facebook, and then figure it out if you were, say, only wanting to invest one out of those three stocks, you can compare them side by side and decide which stock do you want to invest in. So I think that just tells you, like, within 2 seconds if it's fair value or not. And then you can even gives you the option of even modeling your valuation. Now, the cons is that if you want to, say, break down its revenue growth and model it even further, that type of analysis, you can't do it here. Like, it doesn't give you that flexibility. Then you'd have to go back to the unfortunate thing, the Excel spreadsheet to do that. Now, also, these stock screeners and the company reports can be a little too high level for serious research. So I think for someone who's just wanting to just quickly run through the company and spend only like 10 minutes looking at it, I think this is amazing. Hope you found this super, super helpful because like I wish someone had done a review of Simply Wall Street like this. So that's why I created this video for you guys. If you found this video super helpful, well, let me know in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up and I'll see you in the next video.